That sounds really good right now, not gonna lie.
Okay, so who do we have here?
So it looks like we have two attendees right now. We have Damon and Lucy. And I'm also gonna send out another notification so more people can join us.
Sure. And let's see, I will go on camera. And we'll see what questions we have.
Yeah, so for those who are with us right now, feel free to put your questions in the either in the chat or in the Q&A section if you have any.
And we got through everything that we had in the last session, so.
Or Miss Allison, if you have any other things you'd like to share in the meantime.
Okay, sure. Now, what I want to do is I actually sent James a copy of the slide deck in PDF, so you'll have it in PDF. And what I can do is go through some of the little bonus features for attending this session that you can have and use. So we have some additional resources in the slide deck that's in the PDF, so you definitely want to make sure that you get a copy of it. But earlier we talked about some of the different books that are available for pursuing a career in cybersecurity. So these are some really great books that are out there right now. Introduction to U.S. Cybersecurity Careers is a great resource. The Cybersecurity Career Master Plan, Getting an Information Security Job for Dummies is really good. The Cybersecurity Beginner's Guide, and then Develop Your Cybersecurity Career Path. A lot of the information that's in that book parallels some of the things that I've been saying on this talk. So you'll definitely see some things that seem familiar and maybe a few more details within that. And then Navigating Your Cybersecurity Path. So that's another one. Then if you're really trying to understand what it's like to work in cybersecurity, these are some really great books to try to read and learn, like 97 Things Every Cybersecurity Professional Should Know by Christina Morello. That's a really great book. And it has different sections of it or stories that are written by different cybersecurity professionals. And they talk about what, from their perspective, is very important for other cybersecurity professionals to know. Then you have the Tribe of Hackers series by Marcus Carey. And he has several different ones. He has a red team, he has a blue team one. So for the red team, if you're looking at offensive security, things you need to know and think about. And for blue team, if you're doing defensive security, things you need to know, and you can learn from other cyber security professionals that do that work. And he also has Tribe of Hackers, the security leaders. So if you want to be in a leadership role in cybersecurity, it's a great book that has, again, all of these books actually have narratives that are written by people who do the work every day, and they're featured in the book. and they tell their perspectives on the work, and they're organized, by different types of advice. But each person provides their own advice. And then you have the general just tribe of hackers, which covers a lot of different, areas. But this is a great series of books, to really read about cyber and learn, what the day-to-day is. I'm going to stop here at this point because it looks like we have a question. Nope, it just says great, thanks. Okay, and that was from Damon. Okay. So there's some articles that are really good. We talked about the books and they're here listed here as well, but there's a career change moving into cybersecurity by Patra Frame. That's a really good article. The talent shortage sanity check by Kirsten Bragger. She talks about, some of the issues in terms of when people say they have a shortage in talent. That's really good. And, what it really means when you're looking at some of these job descriptions and they're saying, hey, we don't have enough people in this area. What are we doing? And what type of talent do we need? And then she also wrote Secure the InfoSec Bag. She talks about really how you can get a 6-figure salary and, talks about some of the ways that she's done it. Another document is the NIST 812, and it's an information or introduction to cyber information security. So, one thing about our federal government is your tax dollars are definitely well spent when it comes to being able to create, documents, important documents that are meaningful to folks. And this is definitely one of them. If you're looking to get into cybersecurity, NIST actually explains a lot of different things about it in the field. And it's really good. Another thing that I've been listening to recently, which I feel like is excellent, is Your Cyber Path podcast with Kip and Jason. And it's a lot of podcasts go from maybe do some things about breaking into cyber, or they do some things where they're talking about maybe cloud or maybe privacy. They're very specialized in those areas. But this one is really about working in cybersecurity, how to land your dream job. And it's hosted by 2 men who are actually hiring managers. So you get the perspective, a lot of times you get the perspective of the recruiters, or you get the perspective from people who are in career. But this one is really people who are hiring managers and how they think about hiring. And, so they give you tips about how to get your first job as a pen tester. They might feature somebody who's done it. They might tell you what, as a hiring manager, they're looking for and what things you can do. There's probably about 90 of those podcasts out there now. And they're really great to listen to because you hear a very fresh perspective and you get very valuable information. So I highly recommend, this podcast for anybody who's really looking and trying to get in. Let me take a break to see what's in the chat. Okay, so we're good.
Looks like we have one question in the Q&A section, if you'd like to address that.
Sure. Okay, it's from Voma. How can I get a pathologist? How can a pathologist get a career in cybersecurity? So Well, when I think about a pathologist, I think about somebody who works in biotech, somebody who works in healthcare, that area. There's definitely lots of opportunities there. Because you're always dealing with private information, so PHI, uh, personal health information. Um, there's a certain amount of privacy and security that has to happen. The legislation that's most important about a lot of that is HIPAA. You're also trying to secure your findings and your research. And so that's another place where security comes into play. So definitely, I think a good place to start out is Security Plus, because it really gives you a strong understanding of security across a broad different, broad areas, like how you security, risk management, you get how you secure different types of devices, you understand what type of threats. And so that's a good thing to really pair with your education as a pathologist. And then you can start to look at some of the different opportunities within your organization about dealing with cybersecurity and privacy. So maybe you join a committee that's, reviewing, what type of privacy policies that you need to establish. Maybe you work on an IT project, a security project with the IT team. Maybe you look at, some of the things about maybe, handling sensitive information, and you get involved in making decisions about that within your organization. So I definitely would say, start to look at look at the Security Plus content. You could start with Professor Messer, just looking at some of the videos. A great book is Daryl Gibson. I love his Security Plus book, the way he divides it and describes the different concepts is really good. Start there, and then start to look at, what's going on in the industry, your industry. Read the news and see, what areas are problem areas for pathologists in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of privacy. And, try to volunteer for those projects within your job that allow you to stretch those skills and use those skills, because that's something that definitely uh you're gonna encounter. We touch cybersecurity and privacy things every day. We just don't necessarily think about it.
Please, there's another question in the chat section. I think you'd like to answer that too.
Okay. What certifications are needed after taking Security Plus? Well, that's one of the things that we discussed in the earlier session, but generally it depends on where you want to go with your career. What's your target objective? If you're looking at, when I talked earlier, I talked about how, let me see if I can go back to it. When I talked earlier, what I talked about is if you don't have IT experience, then you need to look at the IT, certification level. So IT fundamentals, A+, Network Plus, ITIL, because that gives you the fundamentals. If you're in IT security and you want to get you have IT experience, you want to get cyber experience, then you're looking more toward Security Plus. You're looking at the CAP if you want to understand more about the NIST 853 Rev 4 and Rev 5 controls and how you secure things. You know, what are the requirements? What's the process of managing that whole risk management effort for cybersecurity systems and devices? And CEH, if you want to really understand how things are attacked and be able to have some hands-on and in-depth knowledge of that. You know, that really broadens. If you touch those areas in cybersecurity, then you have a really strong base to build from. It's not necessarily that you have to certify in them all, but you can certify in Security Plus and then learn more about CEH and learn more about the CAP, you know, and study that. But if you have a career path, like let's say you want to be an information security system security officer, well, then CAP is important. So you would do Security Plus and you do CAP. And that would be a good foundation for you to get the type of jobs that you want. If you want to be a pen tester, you would probably marry Security Plus with CEH, because that would position you more toward the type of job that you want. And then you would do further education to maybe do Pen Test Plus or OSCP. And that's the next level that you're looking at, is after you get your security certifications and you have that base knowledge, where do you want to specialize? Do you want to do cloud security? Do you want to do offensive security or defensive security? Do you want to do governance, risk management, and compliance? Do you want to be a cybersecurity manager? All of those have different paths. Okay, so it looks like we have another question with Voma. So Voma, when I say if you don't have IT experience, there are some people who come into cybersecurity who have never taken an information technology course, and they've never really worked on hands-on on any computer or any system. And like I had one person who I mentored, she's in the healthcare field and she works for a chiropractic office and she's a chiropractic assistant. And so she never put together a computer, never built a network, never developed a website or secured a website. So she didn't have the knowledge, base knowledge of information technology. And so in order for her to really understand Security Plus, she had to look at some of Professor Messer's videos and learn A+ and learn, you know, the different components of computers and cell phones. And then she had to take, you know, watch some of the network videos and understand what's a bus, what's a ring, what's a mesh type of network, and what the internet protocols are for the OSI model, because she had to understand that stuff first before she could move into Security Plus, because to a certain degree, Security Plus is based on the fact that you know those things already. And it's hard for you to understand Security Plus if you don't know how those foundational things work already in IT. If you don't really understand how computers work, if you don't understand how networks work, it makes it hard for you to it makes it very hard for you to understand Security Plus. So that's what I mean without IT experience. Okay, the next question that we have is from Kubera. Okay, and it says, how would you recommend I maximize and navigate the recruiting rooftop this evening, even though I haven't figured out what path of security I'm passionate about. Well, I would say it's definitely important for you to be able to learn about the organizations that are going to be there. I think a lot of times when you're doing this, you're trying to, it's like an intelligence gathering type of situation, you know. You're trying to find out what organizations are going to be at the event and go to the website and learn more about the organizations. You're trying to figure out what people are going to be at the event. So if you have information about who's going to be attending, go into their LinkedIn, looking at their background, seeing what, you know, they've done in the past, what they're doing now, and, you know, jot down some notes about, you know, what their background is and who they are and where they work, and just start to ask them some questions about that. So, you know, and you could say something like, you know, I am just starting out in cybersecurity. I read about your company's work in, let's see, operational technology, and some of the projects that you worked on, they seem really exciting. You know, I've looked and you have these different types of opportunities. What types of people do you typically hire for these types of opportunities? Where do you find them? You know, what advice would you have for someone who's looking at this? So a lot of being successful at networking events, at conferences, at, you know, recruiting events is really doing your homework on the people that are coming and understanding who they are, where they work, and what opportunities there are. And, you know, sharing information with them about who you are. Okay, so we have an anonymous question. Are there cybersecurity programs for those that are uninterested in a brick and mortar setting in a university? There's a variety of different ways to learn, and these days with the internet, it makes learning things so much easier, because there's YouTube. You can watch videos on YouTube and learn a lot about a lot of different things. There's a lot of stuff that's free on YouTube. You can go to LinkedIn, and there's a lot of vendors that are offering free training for the different software that they have. So you can go to some of the boot camps, like there's Flatiron is one of them. There's General Assembly, and they focus on helping you to build certain skills like programming. You know, in the software development realm, they may help you focus on like digital data analytics. That's another big area where they do a lot, teaching you how to do data analytics. There's cybersecurity, you know, in those different places. So they tend to run for maybe 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes 10 weeks. They're very intensive, where, you know, they have a formula, they have a bunch of exercises that you need to go through to be able to code or program. They give you projects that you need to complete. You may have some group exercises. They try to help you work on building things for your portfolio. And then they may have you do a demo and show your portfolio to the other students in the class. And, sometimes they also align you to, different employers to, maybe showcase some of the things that you've done. So, and then there's community colleges which are not quite a university, but, are more technically focused. So there's a lot of ways that you can, get an education and not go to a brick and mortar setting in a university. The challenge is always really that you have to demonstrate that the things that you've, sought to study. So the more you can speak to them and talk to them, the more you can demonstrate and show what you can do or what you've done, the better off you are. But tech is very, it's a way that it's a career that cyber and IT are ways that you can make your own way. In a lot of ways, they're very entrepreneurial. Like, you have to have a certain amount of drive to be able to push yourself and learn the things that you need to learn. And you can take yourself wherever you're willing to go with that. And so the only time that I see where there can be places where they really want you to have a degree is at the higher levels of leadership. And sometimes if you want to be a CISO, if you want to be a cybersecurity manager, you may have to have a degree. But it's not mandatory in some cases. There's some organizations that are flexible, and if you have shown the knowledge and the experience and you have the certifications, they're still willing to promote you, to those higher levels. Okay, so that's what we have for that one. We've answered it. Okay, so the next one is from Bola. What are career opportunities in data analytics compared to cybersecurity? Are there more jobs? That's hard to say. I mean, I don't have off the top of my head any statistics about how many job opportunities are in data analytics and cybersecurity. So I can't say definitively what there are. But I can say that we have a certain suite of emerging technologies where there's definitely a high demand for people. Data analytics is an area, cybersecurity is an area, the cloud is an area, artificial intelligence is an area, machine learning is an area. Those are areas, blockchain is another area. Those are areas of emerging technologies where there is a high demand for people. So learning, those areas definitely positions you to be able to advance in your career and move into those areas as they grow. Now, I've been able to work in some ways across different areas, and there's opportunities to do cyber security and focus on data analytics and do, data analytics related to cybersecurity. So there's some mixing and blending too of some of these emerging technologies. Some of the people who work in cloud end up doing cloud, end up doing data analytics, end up doing cybersecurity, and maybe some machine learning thing, because they all kind of, depending on what some of the projects that you're doing, they may blend together. So there's a lot of opportunities in both, and you just have to figure out which you like the best. You know, which one is is the best fit for you. You know, and you find that out by, you know, attending different events, by, you know, going to some of the workshops, by doing some of the training. You know, if the training is painful and you just, you know, it's something that you're not excited about, you're not enthused about, chances are that's not the area that you want to specialize in. And you want to do something that you really like and you really enjoy. So I say just take the opportunity to talk to people in those different career paths and see what the day-to-day work is like. Try out some of the training, go to some of the events, and see where that takes you. Okay. See, our next one, Kabir. I currently work in government contracting, not anything cyber related. I have a TS and I'm currently waiting for SCI to be processed, then make a change as I feel I will be more marketable in the DC as I'm in the DC area. Do you think this makes sense, or should I focus on getting tech right now? Well, I mean, the clearance will definitely give you more options. The more, I mean, in the Washington DC area, if you have no clearance, it can be harder to get work in tech. If you have, let's say, a public trust that gives you, you know, certain opportunities. If you get secret, that expands it more. If you get top secret, that expands it more. And then if you get, you know, TSSCI, you know, that expands it even more, because you can do the work at that level and you can do work all the way down. And then there's a high degree of demand for people at TSI and TSI Polygraph, because oftentimes you have to work on site and not everybody wants to do that. And then there's also specific requirements that you have to meet to get those clearance, and not everybody wants to do that. So there definitely is a demand for that. But I think you have to work things in parallel. You have to look at what the ideal job is that you want to do. You have to start preparing. You have to look at what education you need to have to be able to do that job. You have to look at, okay, what are the networks that I need to build to be able to get that job? Because you're in a different field. You're in acquisition. A lot of the people that you probably know are acquisition people. They're not cyber people. In order for you to move into cyber, you need to get to know cyber people, because they'll be able to help you, you know, be able to look for the cyber opportunities, be able to learn and grow. And it takes time to build a network. Like when I was working, doing my work in capital planning and investment control, I knew budget people. I knew portfolio managers and project managers. I didn't, you know, I knew a few cyber people, but not a whole lot of cyber people. So when I decided to change careers, it was very important for me to go to the networking events, go to the conferences, network with people on LinkedIn, to build that new cybersecurity network and be able to help me in terms of, you know, getting the training, meeting, you know, people at different organizations, and then, you know, getting jobs that, you know, provide me with the experience. So that's what you need to think about is, you know, the clearance, it looks like will probably take care of itself. You know, it's being worked, you know, and it's going along. But what you really need to focus on and think about is, okay, I want to move from acquisition to cyber. You know, what do I really need to do to be able to get the ideal cyber job that I want? You know, what training I need to get working on that, what you know, what networks I need to build, and, you know, what certifications do I need to have? Okay. And this is from Lucy Chambliss. And cyber, how often do you code? I don't code at all. It just depends on what area of cyber that you join. There are some folks that are in cyber that never code at all, like me. You know, I work more at a management level. So a lot of the issues that I deal with are very high level and strategic. I look at what's the strategy for cybersecurity. I look at things like, you know, are we on track in terms of the schedule for being able to implement the controls? I think about things like what type of training do our people need to be able to make sure that our cloud environment and our systems, you know, our on-premise systems are secure. So I don't have to code, you know, to do that type of work. But if you're, say, a software engineer, or let's say a web developer, you know, that's a field where there's a lot of coding. And you want to understand cybersecurity to be able to code things in a way that they're not, you know, easy to hack. There's other areas like cybersecurity awareness training. It's another one where you don't do any coding at all. You're really just teaching people about how to be safe, using technology and being online, and you're training people. So in my work, I don't code at all. I may take some classes at times because I want to understand what the software engineers are doing and how they're doing it, and what types of security issues may arise from that. Because some of the things that I do, another thing I do is help to write policy. And I look at what type of policies should be in place. And if I can see what the developer has to do or has to code, then, and I see, you know, what type of code, you know, it is and how simple it is or how it could be, you know, attacked, then I'm better at writing the policies. I'm better at giving advice to senior leadership. And so I take the time to try to see some of the coding so I can be more knowledgeable about the software and the technology. Okay, so it looks like we've gotten through all the questions at this time. So what I'll do is I'll go back to some of the resources that we have in our guide, or in my training presentation. You click on here. So there's videos. There's some really great videos. This talk has been done several years back, and so it's available on YouTube. It's also available on the ISSA DC website. The templates are there, and then Bright Talk has a copy of it. So there's, you know, other earlier versions of this talk out there. There's a great series called Breaking into Cyber with Renee Small and Christophe Foulon. And they weekly would speak to people who got into cyber, and they would tell their stories. And so that's out there on YouTube. It's a great series, and you get to learn a lot of tips and hear different career paths and stories. There's also Developing Your Cybersecurity Home Lab. Tyrone Wilson of Cover 6 Solutions has a video out there on YouTube, which is good, but there's a lot of other folks who have done videos about setting up your own home lab that are interesting and good to listen to. And then there's a video about, you know, getting started in cyber. So there's a lot of stuff out there. If you're trying to look at webinars, definitely go to Bright Talk, because there's a ton of things there. You know, I talked earlier this morning about the ISC Squared channel, the ISSA channel, and the Women's Society of Cyber Jutsu channels. They have great information out there that you can look at. And then there's Eventbrite, Gov Events, B-Sides, Cybersecurity Ventures. Those are all places where you can find out information about upcoming cyber events. And you can learn about, what's going on, and see, what kind of events that you want to go to. So let's see, it looks like we have another question. Okay, it's the same one. So we'll just close that out. Okay. So here are some of the top news sites. One of the things I talked about earlier in the morning session was that you really need to, it's like learning a foreign language, being a part of cyber. You want to really immerse yourself in things that are cyber. And one of the best ways to do that is to look at the cyber news and see what happened lately. So these are some of the sites that are really good. Dark Reading is one, it's very popular. And you get a lot of information from that. Krebs on Security. Brian Krebs is known as a top investigative support reporter for cybersecurity. He always has a lot of articles about what's going on and different things. So he's somebody that's good to follow and to read to see what he has to say. There's Hacker News. So that gives you some information. And then there's some of the daily news sites like the BBC, has a cybersecurity news channel. CNBC Tech has a cybersecurity news channel. Fox has their own cybersecurity. New York Times, U.S. News and World Report. So, and Wire Security. So you can create your RSA feeds, or you can, subscribe or look them up on LinkedIn and be able to find out, some of the things that are happening, some of the big breaches that occur, and, be able to really understand what's going on in the cybersecurity world. Different organizations, ISSA, that's organization. I'm VP of Program and Events for the DC chapter. So, that definitely visit our website and see what kind of upcoming events that we have. There's the Information Audit and Control Association there around as well. And they do a monthly conference, one-day conference on different issues, and maybe IT auditing. I think their next one is going to be women in technology. They're doing that one, and they have one that's going to be risk management framework, but you can go to their site and see what kind of upcoming one-day conferences they have. They've been doing more in person lately. So, and I think they're doing them out at the Hilton in Virginia. But, and they have a lot of training classes. If you're studying for the CISM or CISA or C-Risk, they have affordable training classes that are better pricing than what you would get from a training vendor, taught by people who are part of the association. So it's a good place to get some really good training for a reasonable price. ISC Squared has local chapters here. There's Women's Society of Cyber Jutsu, for women in cyber. And there's ISSA is another women in society and cybersecurity group. There's Cyversity, for diverse individuals. You're here with Blacks in Cyber, so definitely, want to stay tuned in to all the great things that are happening here. Some other things that are free that are out there are the MITRE ATT&CK framework. They have free training online that you can get access to. And they also have a free 52-page book. So if you're somebody who's looking at pen testing, you're looking at cyber offensive or defensive, red team, blue team, this is something that you definitely want to take some time to learn, because you learn what type of attacks that people do against technology. You learn who the attackers are, and you learn how you can protect your systems. And that's what's really good about the MITRE ATT&CK framework, is it lets you see all of that, and you go through the website and you can see, all this information, and do research and find out, ways to secure your systems based on that. So I'll stop again. Looks like we might have another question. Says, I'm sorry, I can't see the prior screen. Can I see this prior screen for about 10 seconds when you have a moment? Okay, let's see. Okay, we'll go back. Okay, Marcus, I'll give you 10 seconds. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000. Okay, so we'll move on. So here is the NIST risk management framework free training. And they have a website. Like, NIST is a go-to for just a whole bunch of things. So, you can go to that website, and they have lists of all kinds of free training that's there. But they also have a free training for the risk management framework. And if you want to learn about NIST 853 Rev 5, you can go online, and I think this course is probably about, it's either 2 hours or 3 hours, and it walks you through the whole NIST framework. And so you understand like how it was developed, what the steps are: prepare, categorize, select, implement, authorize, monitor, and what you need to do at each steps, and what are the roles in cybersecurity that have to be able to work on securing the system. So, it's a really great training. I encourage you to definitely go there and learn more about it. Looks like we have some more questions. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so it's just Marcus. Got to see his screen. Okay, so we have a question from Ruben, or a comment. I've often said that a base understanding of GRC or risk management allows you to move between different sections of health, government, energy, and etc. Having worked for a couple of different fields, would you say that's true? Yes, because that's where some of the leadership is within cybersecurity, and you need leadership across all these different areas in health and government and energy. All of them have regulatory requirements that they have to meet. In healthcare, it's HIPAA. In government, it's FISMA and a whole bunch of other things. And in energy, there's NERC. So there's all these different regulatory standards that they have to meet. And that's what GRC is really about, is having the governance, the leadership, the mindsets, the oversight, the controls, to be able to meet those compliance rules and make sure that you abide by them. So you can use GRC to move in and out of a lot of different sectors. And you can take management and the certifications that the GRCs offer you and be able to leverage it in a lot of different ways in those sectors. So definitely, I agree with you, Ruben. Okay, so another free training that's out there is FedRAMP. That's on the GSA site, and they have their own site. So you can learn a lot about what FedRAMP is, and what the process is for securing new cloud software for the federal government. And you learn about different things because you have the cloud providers, the software vendors who are, putting their cloud, putting their software, want to put their software in the cloud and sell it to customers. You have the government organization that wants to purchase it. And then you have what you call 3 PAOs, which are third-party assessors. And they do the evaluation to make sure that what the software vendor creates is consistent with the security requirements for the government agency, whether it's a civilian agency or a Department of Defense agency. They help the vendors understand, what the requirements are and walk them through the whole process, and then make sure that, everything was done in a way that supports the work that the agency is trying to do and meets the security requirements. So that training is out there for free if you want to learn more about FedRAMP and the cloud. These are just different online trainings that are out there. There's Cybrary, Professor Messer, Fed VTE. If you're a veteran or you work for the government or you're a contractor for the government, they have lots of training that's out there for free. And you can pull down a list, and there it's just massive. There's the DoD Cyber Exchange that's run by ISSA. There's lots of training out there if you work for a Department of Defense as a government employee or a contractor. That's out there. Splunk, generally they have courses out there. You can go to the Splunk website, you can download Splunk, and you can do the Splunk Fundamentals course. And that's what they call the Splunk Core User Certification. And you can, start there and really kind of start to understand Splunk. Now, if you're a veteran, you have access to Splunk 1, Fundamentals 1, and Fundamentals 2 for free, because they have a program where they're trying to get more veterans to learn Splunk and make Splunk, working with Splunk their career. And so if you have an ID, your ID, you can use that ID to be able to get to access to the 2 classes. Also, if you work for a company that's a partner with Splunk, you can get to that Splunk Fundamentals for free. If you're not, you're going to have to, a veteran or a partner, then you'll have to pay to get to that training. So that's something to definitely think about. For AWS, there's tons of free classes that are out there online and live. They're always advertising about them, on LinkedIn, and there's lots of influencers you can follow who are doing the training, know the trainings really well, and can point you to it, or you can subscribe to the AWS training and on LinkedIn, their page, and you can, get the information as it comes out about the training, about the things. Microsoft Learn is another site where there's a lot of good information and there's a lot of free training out there. Google Cloud Training, Google has its things on its site. And then there's some paid subscriptions that are pretty good. Cybrary also has a paid feature. Udemy has a paid, feature. There's some great Udemy classes out there. You can see the ratings of the instructors and see how many people have used those classes. LinkedIn Learning has a lot of different instructors out there on LinkedIn Learning. There's IT Pro TV that's been around for a long time. There's Pluralsight and CBT Nuggets, Storm Window Studios, all those things, and a Cloud Guru. All those things have been around for a while. And I think a Cloud Guru actually joined maybe Pluralsight. So they're one company now. There's Code Academy, there's Code Red. And one of the ones I really like is InfoSec Institute Skills, Flex Skills, because you can go on there. It's probably about $35, $39 a month. And you have access to a ton of different trainings out there. And it's amazing how many you actually have that are available to you. And, I love it. I've used it for my CISM. I've used it for CISSP. I'm using it to look at the CIPP for privacy. So it's really good. And this just shows you the Splunk fundamentals page, the free courses, the tracks, you can go to the site and see and learn more about it. This is a site for veterans that I was talking about. You have to have your troop ID to be able to access the fundamentals 1 and 2. If you're a veteran, to be able to get those free classes. This is just showing you some of the Amazon AWS certification path. So you have cloud practitioner, and then you have the associate certifications like solution architect, developer, and sysops administrator. And you have the professional ones, which are more 2 years of experience, the solution architect and the DevOps. And then you have some of the technical specialty areas. So you can specialize in networking, advanced networking. You can specialize in data analytics. You can do database or machine learning or security. And you can do SAP on AWS. So, and all of those courses, you have a lot of ways to learn for free and put yourself on the path for AWS. So you can go to the AWS Cloud Skills site. And then this is one of the, the early ones, but the cloud practitioner, which is 6 hours of training. You can begin to learn about the cloud and the AWS service offerings. And they have some special programs like they have AWS She Builds with Cloud. And, that's a really great program because you can join it. You get to network with a lot of other people who are interested in learning cloud. It's an 8-week program. They send you different emails, have a kickoff meeting, send you different emails and let you know about what's going on with the program and how it's going to work, what the schedule is. And they send you, information about classes, and you can get vouchers. That's a really good program. And they have another one, Cloud Up for the solution architects. And it's the same thing where it's an 8-week session, they kind of kick it off and, just let you know, hey, this is a schedule. You're going to get some free training. You can get a voucher, when you're ready to take the exam, so there's things, they have special programs that you can look out for. This is just Microsoft Learn. There's just a ton of training for Microsoft. It's kind of crazy. But there's a lot, and they have a whole bunch of different paths. I think I did the AZ 900 and the SC 900. So the AZ is the Azure fundamentals, and then the SC is the security identity type of course. And so there's a lot out there that you can do with Azure. And Google has its site, like we talked about. So there's a lot of things out there in terms of training. And they even have a project management certification. I think they say that that's probably like a 6-month training on Coursera, but that's out there. And we talked about MITRE ATT&CK. MITRE also has the Attack IQ Academy. You can sign up online and get access to the Attack IQ Academy, and they have a lot of courses related to MITRE ATT&CK framework. And you can do purple teaming, which talks about, how you can do offensive and defensive teams, how you can bring them together to help try to secure your IT. So they have that course. They have a ton of different courses there. They're pretty hard. You can't, it's not something you just watch and, you get a certificate, you watch, and then they may have some labs or some exercises, and they have some pretty tough questions for the exams. But, I did 2 of those courses, and, found them really helpful and helping me to understand how the MITRE ATT&CK framework works, and helping me to understand more of what, is done with red team and blue team, and, some of the threats and some of the threats in the cloud. So, that's definitely something that's free that you can take advantage of. This is for people who are interested in governance, risk, and compliance. If you want to get some information on these different, areas, this is really great because they're free online trainings. You can learn about the ISO standards. You can learn about GDPR. They have some classes that are paid. They have some classes that are free. Generally, if you want a certificate for the class, you have to pay some money. And it just depends on, what the nature of the class is. But if you're doing any GRC, any audit, and you want to learn some of these things, this is a good site for you to go to for that. Towson University has several free courses that they offer online. So you can go to the Towson University site, and it's sponsored by Cisco. And so they offer these as a partnership. But there's Introduction to Security. There is Introduction to IoT, Internet of Things. So like all the little gadgets that are attached to the internet. They have Introduction to Packet Tracer, the Linux. They have Cybersecurity Essentials, and then this PCAP, Programming Essentials in Python. So those are all courses that you can take online through Towson University for free. If you're looking for work, you're unemployed, it's definitely really good for you to touch base with your workforce organization for DC, Maryland, or Virginia. Each one works a little bit differently. I've, worked with DC. I have other mentees that are in Maryland, and I know some of the folks, training companies who operate in DC. So generally with Virginia, there's a lot of money. The state has made a lot of investment in trying to make sure that people are train for the workforce. And so they have money for people who are unemployed who want to go into cyber, and in some cases, businesses that want to train up their workforce so they're more cyber savvy. And in other cases, maybe people who have a job who are underemployed. So you want to touch base with, if you're in Alexandria County or Arlington County, definitely touch base with the Alexandria Workforce Development Center. And they even will offer you a career coach. So they have free career coaches that help you out and, work with you. So it's a good place to, really kind of talk to them and see, kind of what they have to offer and what they have available. In addition to that, Intellectual Point receives quite a bit of money from the veterans programs, and they run a ton of different veterans programs. So if you're a veteran and you live in Virginia, and they probably even capture some ones from, across the country, I think, based on the programs, but they have a whole suite of programs that they're funded for. They have money for the Vet Tech program, which basically helps veterans move into tech. And you can receive money. It's in addition to your GI Bill. So you don't have to touch your GI Bill to utilize this money. You can use it with or use it, outside of it. And, they can generally help you through the process and help you understand, how to enroll in a program and what you need to do. They have somebody who specializes in assisting veterans in the program. They also have a special schedule of training that they do for veterans. That's really good. And they offer several other programs. They have the Army Credentialing Assistance Program, Army Cool, to help you if you're in the Army and you want to get, more technical credentials. They have the Veteran Rapid Retraining Assistance Program, VRAP, that helps you, in terms of being able to get more information there. So, and then they have things for military spouses. They have special programs for that, and they have funding for that. So if you, live in Virginia, you're a veteran, or even if you, want to maybe live outside of Virginia, but want to learn, these guys would definitely be able to tell you. So their phone number is there, the email is there, and the website is there. And you can definitely learn more from Intellectual Point about some of the veterans programs that, are offered in this area. AWS Restart is a program that's out there, and you can go to the website and take a look at it, but it's, helping people launch their careers in the cloud. And it works, definitely with unemployed and underemployed folks who are trying to build careers and through classroom training. So you definitely want to, take a look at this if you fall into the category of unemployed or underemployed. And then there's also an AWS center over actually in Crystal City where, they have some of the free classes and some of the things that they offer. So, I say definitely take a look into it and see, what's out there with AWS Restart. So that's all I had in terms of the resources that are in the slide deck. And so I've sent it to James from BIC, who will make sure that, all of you, can have access to it and you can be able to look at it again and leverage some of the resources. So let's see, do we have any questions at this time?
Please leave your questions in the chat or the QA section if you have any.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
They should keep their questions in the QA section or the chats if they have any question for you.
Okay, yeah, I've looked there. I don't see any. I'm just giving people a chance to send any if they have any at this point. Okay, so I'm gonna put the certifications picture back up. Because that's one of the things that or quite a few questions about, but just, basically understanding what, where you are in terms of your IT knowledge or cybersecurity knowledge and what you need to do, or your specialty. So that's very, very important. So we'll give it a minute or so. And then it looks like we have probably about 16 people online. Is there anybody that might want to do, walk through doing their own cybersecurity action plan? Let's see. Okay, let's see what we have in question. Okay. We have Ed. A question from Ed. I'm taking beginner courses in Coursera for IBM cybersecurity. Would you recommend that for application? I would do the action plan. Okay. So Ed, are you interested in volunteering to do an action plan live? Okay. So let's see. Okay. Okay, so let's see, we answer that. Okay. Okay. So before we do that, Ed, real quick, Marcus has a question. He says, what do you recommend as a first step for somebody who recently passed a Security Plus exam and wants to get started working? Well, first you need to really, go back to, what types of things that you want to do. What is your ultimate career goal? Like what position really, is attractive to you? And then you need to figure out, okay, out of these positions, maybe you pick 6, and then you look at 3, like what, 3 do I want to do? And then from that 3, then you start to look at, okay, what's on Indeed? What's on, LinkedIn Jobs? What kinds of things are out there? And then you try to really start to see, who's hiring, where you want to work. You identify what you want to do, you identify where you want to work, and you identify, what are the people, who are doing that, and how can you build your network to get that first opportunity. So that's generally what you're trying to do, Marcus. And you want to start working as, just, and make sure that you, update your resume to really reflect the work that you want to do, and make sure that's good to go. And then you can start applying to jobs. Okay. Okay, so Ed, let me see. I'm gonna share my screen. And we can get you going. Okay, let me see. So we have Ed, right? Okay, and today is the 25th. Okay, so Ed, what's your vision? Okay, so you want to become a cybersecurity analyst. Okay. Okay, so let me see if I can go. Probably should change screens. Let's see. And we'll try to screen view and see if it'll keep us going. Okay, so let's go to CyberSeek. Okay, so we'll go to CyberSeek here. And you see all the people who are involved in it. It's a really cool tool. We'll click on it. And let's see, can see some of the career pathways. Okay, cybersecurity analyst. Okay, let's click on it. Okay, so this is kind of a live, way of, kind of developing your cybersecurity action plan. So Ed just told us that he wants to be a cybersecurity analyst. I'm gonna put Ed's question over here so I can see. Or his comments. Okay, so it's basically talking about what the average salary is. Well, average salary is about $109,000. talks about some of the other different types of titles there are there. So security, cybersecurity analyst, information security analyst, information technology analyst, security operations analyst, and compliance analyst. So this tells you some of the related titles that you can also search on when you look at Indeed for, you know, the type of the cybersecurity analyst role. And then it breaks down to how many people have a bachelor's degree generally, or how many times it's requested, and then, you know, a graduate degree. So, and then, you know, no degree. So you see here where it says sub BA, that's about how many employers said, we don't need a degree for cyber analysts, security analysts. This is about how many said they want a bachelor's degree. So bachelor degree is winning there in terms of, you know, education. And then graduate degree, people aren't so excited about. So you see kind of where the bulk of that is in terms of education. It says across the country, there's actually 31,000 positions available. And then it says the top skills that you need. So information security, information systems, Linux, network security, threat analysis, security operations, vulnerability assessment, project management, intrusion detection. And then it talks about the top certifications. So it's saying from the bottom up, CISM, Security Plus, CISA, SANS GIAC, and then CISSP. And then it has like the different, you know, workforce categories where you see it. And then it talks about the growth of, you know, the different areas. So you can see like software security is growing at 114%. You know, that's a lot. So that means that there's going to be a lot of projected jobs in that area. Same thing with threat hunting, that's 105%. Security event and management, that's 65%. And then, you know, threat intelligence. So you kind of see that there. Let me see. So that gives you a sense of, you know, what they're saying in terms of, you know, gives you a profile of this particular, you know, work, which is kind of, you know, kind of cool to see. Let me see, where is, okay. So that's really cool. So let's see, skills and certifications, roles. You can go back and forth, click on here. Let's see. And this is the heat map, you know, kind of showing you different areas. Let's see if we can, let's look at Virginia. You know, it tells you when you click on the map, it tells you how many different, you know, how many openings there are. Also tells you like how many certification holders there are in different certifications. So you can see some of that information there. So that's there. You can put in a state. Let's see, where's DC? You know, and then it changes. There's 18,478 openings. And let's see, Maryland. Okay, it looks like I have a lot going on there. Maryland. Looks like it's doubling up there. Okay, boom. Okay, did it change and go to Maryland? Yep. So you can see kind of what's going on in Maryland. 26,205 total workforce openings. You know, definitely on the low side of filling all the needs. So this is a good way for you to kind of do, you know, a little bit of research about that cybersecurity analyst. And then let's see, so we go to one of my favorites, but Indeed. And cybersecurity. Analyst. Entry level. And you can kind of see, you know, pull some job descriptions. Let's see. Okay, so they have information security analysts. So remember how when we were looking, they were saying that there could be other titles. So that's one of the other titles. So let's see, what do we have here? Okay, so there's a job description. So there. Okay, it looks like it's working for U.S. Department of Agriculture. But looks like there's a ton of things out there. You know, but definitely being able to look through and kind of see, you know, what kind of, you know, what's out there, you know, what type of positions are in the market. See, this looks like there's a cybersecurity analyst position. $70 to $80 an hour. Let's see, they talk about wanting to U.S. citizen, have a clearance, work for DHS. So that's one thing that's out there. But this is kind of the exercise you go through, like understanding, you know, what the general market is for cybersecurity analysts. That may be looking at some specific positions, looking at some of the requirements. And you may think, oh, you know, I'm ready to apply right now. And you may think, you know, I still may have a little bit of work to do. So. Okay, so. Okay, so yeah, so you see that. Let me see if I have maybe CompTIA. Okay, there's another one. Cyber security. Analyst job description. So let's see what we got here. Okay, here's a good one. What does a cybersecurity analyst do? From Coursera. So cybersecurity analysts protect cybersecurity networks from unauthorized access. So this gives you like a good, some good information. I'm going to copy that and probably steal that. And as a security analyst, you're tasked with, doing all these different things. So here it's talking about monitoring network traffic for security incidents and events, investigating incidents in real time, writing detailed incident reports, installing and operating firewalls, encryption programs and other software, fix vulnerabilities, develop and promote best practices for information security, do threat research and risk assessment. So what does this say to me? Well, for network traffic and security incidents, that says to me Splunk or some other log type of analysis type of tool, like Microsoft Sentinel. So some of the other things, or Elastic, or I heard of something recently called Graylog. So looking at that, incidents, having some training in incident management, is definitely important. Incident response, having some hands-on type of, working with installing software and hardware for firewalls and encryption programs and security. Understanding what vulnerabilities are and how to fix them. Definitely understanding the basics of information security. So security plus. Understanding threat research. Well, you know what that says to me? That says MITRE ATT&CK. That says PASTA, that says STRIDE. This is all these different threat intelligence methodologies. Cyber kill chain. Those are the things that, are out there you think about in terms of, understanding threats and, how to address them. And then, and also CEH, certified ethical hacker, understanding some of the threats, and then periodic risk assessment. So definitely pen test plus for the pen test, and then for the risk assessment, that points to the CAP, or now known as the GRC, but understanding the NIST 853 controls and what's going on there. So let's see if we go back to it's plan. Can you still see my screen? Somebody put a thumbs up or a yes. Ed, can you see it? Okay, so we have to become a cybersecurity analyst, and we can take some of that other language. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to do a paste special. Make sure we get all those strange characters out of there. I'll format it. So here we go through and we say to become a cybersecurity analyst, that protects computer networks from cyber attacks and unauthorized access. defends against cyber threats and defends against cyber threats and responds to security breaches when they happen. And this other little part we can, it's not as important. So there we go. We have a vision for it. Okay, let's go back and get some space back in here. Okay, so your strategy. So and now we need to work on a strategy. So let's see, you have some training. What ideas do you have about your strategy, Ed? Let's see, trying to see if I see any more messages from Ed. Okay. Let's see, Ed, are you still there? Yeah, let's see. Okay, to have a strategic plan, breakthrough in the industry. Okay. Well, we want to try to figure out like where, what things do you need to do? And that's what this section is. So it sounds like you have your certification. So one of the things you're trying to do is conduct your job search, right? You know what position you want to go for. You want to do cybersecurity analyst position. So you're conducting your job search, right? You're looking for a cybersecurity analyst role. Okay. The other thing that you're trying to do is you want to build your network. And meet other cybersecurity analyst professionals. Right? You want to identify good places to work. Okay, so those should be some of the things that you're let me fix that. There we go. Bing. Okay, so this is what you're doing. So we're walking Ed through his career plan. And I think I like that better for this one. Okay, so these are some things that, you know, for your strategy, right? Okay. You want to identify some companies, you know, some places to work. Now, do you have any training or education goals? You know, we could say something like continue to grow and learn cybersecurity analysts. Discipline, knowledge, you know, right? Okay, so that gives you at least kind of 4 like high level goals, right? For what you want to do. Okay, let me close out some of these. Okay, so answer, we got that one. You said yes. So we got that one. Okay. Okay, so you got the Tribe of Hackers by Marcus Carey. So so you like that. Okay, so you got that. Okay. And then you agree. Okay, so we're good there. So these are your high level things, like the things that you're really trying to focus on and trying to do. You're trying to do this job search. Right? You're trying to build your network and meet other people. You're trying to identify good places to work because you don't want to work in a bad place. You want to work in a place that you really like the culture, you really like the people, you really are going to thrive there. They pay for training, you know, they offer you training opportunities. You know, they offer you a chance to go to conferences. You know, that kind of stuff is important. And then you want to continue to learn, you know, continue to grow and learn. You know, and cybersecurity analysts. Nice. So we got your strategy together. So now we're going to work on your objective. So this is more specific, like you're trying to figure out, you know what job you want to do. You know, you want to be a cyber security analyst, but then, you know, is there a particular industry that you want to work in? Are you looking to do it in private sector or in the public sector? Are you looking to do it in a energy or healthcare or government or the financial sector? So Ed, what can you tell us about that? Like what environment ideally do you want to work in? Okay, so you said healthcare. Okay. So, and healthcare is big too. So do you care what part of care? Do you want to work in insurance companies? Do you want to work in hospitals? Do you want to work in health technology vendors, or it just any one of those in healthcare? Okay, so the goal is to obtain a cybersecurity analyst position within the field of healthcare. Okay, let's see. So we got healthcare. Okay, so so you say, okay, so you have a master of healthcare administration. Okay, so we'll make it broad. Add a insurance company, healthcare. Let's see, insurance company. Insurance company. Let's see, provider. Oh, I'm not doing well with the spelling today. Information technology company. Let's see, we got federal government. Okay, so you've got like, where can you work? Okay, you have HHS, right? You've got VA, FDA, CMS, right? Military health. And then you got state and local health organizations, right? Okay. We'll put in nonprofits because there might be some places in nonprofits you can do it too. Okay, so that okay, so the objective is to obtain a cybersecurity analyst position within the field of healthcare, an insurance company, provider, information technology company, federal agency like HHS, VA, FDA, CMS, military health, state and local government, health organization, or a nonprofit. Okay, so you see how that works, right? So the idea is when you're writing your career objective, you're trying to figure out, okay, what's that narrow, career objective that I want for myself. You know, so the broad one is the cybersecurity analyst position, but then you're narrowing it down to a specific industry, and you're narrowing it down to some of the places that you could possibly work. You know, at least based on what you know, right? So you got that. So we got that for Ed. Okay, so this is kind of the process you go through everyone when you're trying to do your vision. You know, you go through and you look at the job and kind of what, you know, what you would be doing in terms of the job. You look at what the things you need to do, like the high level things you need to do as part of this, you know, job search and obtaining this career. So we have these different bulleted, you know, areas that you can, you know, to work on. And then you have your specific career objective for what you want to do. Right? Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger because I don't know how it's showing up on the screen. But I can always use it. So we have the first boxes done for Ed. Okay. So the next box is explore interest in cyber. So that's all about, you know, networking and things like that. So, and some of the things we talked about. So let's put down some things. So one thing that Ed said he was doing is he's reading Tribe of Hackers by Marcus Carey. Okay. So we have that in the list. So he's learning more, you know, about, you know, the role he wants in the day-to-day from experts. And, you know, I'm just going to do this in an easy way. So we'll say this is in progress right now. He's doing that. He's working that. So we'll give it a little yellow highlighter. Well, maybe green will be brighter. Let's see if green is brighter. Nope, it's just stuck on yellow. Okay. So, okay, so the other thing that I would recommend to you is you want to network with HIMSS, right? The Health Information Management Society. Let me see. Okay. Okay, right? So I spent a little bit of time in the healthcare industry, so I know it fairly well in some ways. So one of the places that you can best learn or be in network with the people who are doing things related to IT is to be a part of HIMSS. There's also Weedy. So you're going to attend a HIMSS event, and you're going to attend a Weedy event, because all the people that do the type of work that you're interested in are probably going to be in these organizations. Okay, and you can put a date here. Like, I'm not going to put any dates right now, but you know, ideally you want to give yourself a target for when you want to complete it. So like for the Tribe of Hackers, it sounds like you've already got the book. And so there you go right there. You know, you may want to give yourself, I don't know, let's say, well, I'm doing it anyway, I guess. I don't know, give yourself, let's see, what's the calendar? We'll just pick a random date, I guess. Maybe by the 31st, you need to go to an event with hymns. And maybe, let's see, we say by the end of April, you go to an event with Weedy, right? Okay, so let's see. Now, we went and we looked at that job description. So now we're going to look up hymns and Weedy. Okay, so HIMSS is the Health Information Organization, right? So what's going on? Oh, they're having a big national conference now. Yeah, there's going to be 40,000 healthcare professionals there. So let's look and see when it is and where it is. Oh, and we get to see the costs. So a little conference pass in there is $1,025. So you can get to see some of the costs. You know, some of the different events that are going to be there. You can book your hotel. You can see what they're going to be doing, but where are the dates, man? Oh, it's in Chicago. So it's in Chicago, April 17th through the 21st. So that's next month. So you can kind of think about whether you want to go to this event and you want to network with all these people in tech. There's going to be 40,000 people there. You know? So that's kind of cool. You can look at the program and see, you know, what's going to be, you know, who's going to be there. Now, let's see. You know, they're talking about the event, they're talking about different things, but let's go back to HIMSS overall. So they talk about, you know, who they are, what they do, you know, to realize full health potential of every human, to reform a global health ecosystem with the power of information technology. They have 120,000 members. They have, you know, 430 provider organizations, 500 nonprofit partners. So this definitely, it looks like the place to be when in terms of, you know, health IT and making connections. You can look at like, you know, what opportunities, like what their initiatives, their solutions are, their opportunities. You know, they have scholarships for students. They have awards. They have, you know, different exchanges. So that's good. They have public policy and advocacy going on there. You know, so there's a lot. It looks like they're doing a lot. They also have local chapters and they have resources and they have certifications. So, you know, when you're looking here, you can see, you know, some of the different training and on-demand webinars they have about healthcare. How to write your resume. Ooh, look here, they have cybersecurity and healthcare as a guide. So that's a valuable resource. That's some training, something you can do. Right? And they have other trainings here. They have careers. Let's see. So they have a job mine, technology job center. So you can go there and you can look for jobs. They have a career pathway site, so they can talk about, do more with your career pathway. Right? So that's kind of cool. So you have a place where you can kind of look for jobs. And I also know for a fact they have career fairs. And then they have certifications. So like these are some of their certifications, specifically for healthcare. They have a certified associate in health information management systems, certified professional in information management systems, and certified professional in digital health transformation strategy. So they have those there. I can tell you for a fact that Security Plus and a lot of those are more mainstream and kind of trump that. So, it's kind of good to know. But you have that. And then let's see, the other place that we were talking about is Weedy. And they have a site. Work group for electronic data exchange. So you can go here and see what's going on. So Ed, where are you located? Are you in Maryland, DC, or Virginia? Let's see. Let's see if I can see the chat now. Okay, you're in Florida. Okay, well, what you want to do, let's see. So you want to see like if there's any local chapters in Florida, right? Any events in Florida. So let's see. See HIMSS chapter in Florida. Okay, so there's a Central North Florida chapter. And there's a South Florida chapter. So you can go to the website, you can kind of see who's who in the zoo, what's going on. And you could pick out some kind of event that you can go to. Like they have, okay, let's see, there's events. Here, they have some recorded presentations. So let's see what's going on. Okay. In March, they have orientation to the chapter March 2nd. So you could attend that and learn more about the chapter. And then it looks like they have a mentorship program. So maybe when you go to the orientation, you can learn more about the mentorship program. So that's what's going on there. I'm not sure what part of Florida you're in, but that's South Florida. Let's see. I think there's a Central North. Where's Central North? So Central North is here. There's another chapter there. They use the same template for these sites. Some of them do that, but they have education and events calendar. So let's see what they have going on. Okay, So Central North, they have some nursing informatics boot camp. They have a quarterly Tampa healthcare professionals networking social. So that's something you could go to on March 16th. If you wanted to, you could go to a healthcare professional social. And then, they have something about joining the chapter. So I say all this to say that this is the exercise you go through, everybody, when you're trying to figure out, okay, for my action plan, who do I want to network with? And where and how and what's going to happen. So, I just happen to know something about healthcare and cybersecurity and IT. So I knew kind of what the associations were. So you may have to do a little bit of research, a little bit asking around to see, what's out there. And, what organizations are really the best ones. I gave you a few that I know of. But depending on how you're specializing, you may you may need to look at, some other ones, as well. So let's see, back to where we were. So we have a good goal there. We have some things that, Ed can do. 2 events we identified 2 he could go to in the next, next month. So that's good. I think, we could say he's going to attend one of the, meetings at HIMSS, that's on the 2nd, and he's, going to some other things. He can pick out something for Weedy. So for the positions, you pretty much have that set up. So you're, what you may want to do is do some informational interviews with other system or cybersecurity analysts. Right? Just to kind of, meet some other people that are going to do the job that you want to do. So you could say set up for informational interviews with, other cybersecurity analysts. And you could pick 6 healthcare companies. Let's say organizations that hire cybersecurity analysts, right? So what you're doing there is you're trying to cut through, because some organizations are really small. They may not have that role. They may just hire some company to come in and do that work for them. They may not have an IT organization. So you're trying to find the places that are big enough that they have an IT organization. They're going to be able to hire you. Right? So that can be your goal, is to find 6, and you can do that through your Indeed search and looking at places that you can do that. And then you give yourself a timeline. Like, let's say, you have a lot on your plate for February, March, and April. Maybe you want to set that to May or June. So maybe you want to say that you want to do that by June 30. right? Give yourself some time to kind of look through that. And if you get it done earlier, then great. And you could say right now, that's not yet started. So we'll make that another, a not yet started, right? And so then policies and standards. So what do you really need to know? And you definitely need to know HIPAA, right? In healthcare. So you want to be, you might want to know high tech, which is another security standard, and understand, breach notification and laws there. You probably want to definitely understand the Privacy Act of 1974. You may need to understand PCI DSS because all healthcare organizations process credit cards. So those are some things to kind of start with in terms of policies and standards. And you'll probably find some more. But those are some things to start with. You can give yourself, let's say, maybe you want to give yourself, you can do 2 things at the same time. So we can put this as like, 6/30, 2023, right? So that's a goal for something that you want to see, some standards, some things you want to look at. You could also say NIST 853, right? Controls, you could say, trying to think, CIS controls. Because if you're maybe using a medium size, that might be, important. So that gives you some things in terms of, controls and understanding, what, you can do in terms of being able, in that area. So you have some privacy and some breach notification and some PHI and some credit card things to learn. But then you also have some things, some other things. So you got that. Okay, tools. So Ed, where are you with your tools knowledge? Calling Ed. Are you still with me? Okay. So Linux and Python, or you want to learn Linux and Python? Okay, so you want to learn. Okay, so let's see, you put Linux. We'll put that learn Linux. Learn Python. Okay, so that's the case where you're definitely going to have to look for some classes. Now, what you might want to do here for a goal, you might say that you're going to do this. Here, give yourself 6 months. And then after you do 6 months, then you're gonna do with Linux, then you're gonna do 6 months with Python, right? You don't want to overload yourself. You want to give, make some reasonable goals, right? And so here you haven't started that, so we can say that that is not yet started. And then you go through and you kind of look to see what kind of classes are out there. For that. And let's see, we can do, I forgot to highlight, this is not yet started. Okay, so that's your not yet started yet. Okay, so certifications, what certifications do you have, Ed? Or do you need to get a certification? Okay, so you need to get certification. Okay, so okay, so you need to get that. So let's see, CompTIA. So you're going to research CompTIA, CYSA. Certification. Okay. Do you have Security Plus, Ed? Okay, so you only have the beginning. Okay. So, and you're going to research Security Plus. And you're going to do this, and you're going to research let's see, what else are you going to research? You're going to research CEH. So certified ethical hacker, right? Okay. So let's see, where in the schedule do we have things? Okay, so this is something that's not yet started. You gotta do that as a new action. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm gonna change this a little bit because you gotta identify a class. Okay, so you gotta find a class and you gotta figure out, you gotta learn that. And you gotta identify a class and learn. Okay, so that's what you're working on, right? Okay, for that. So you got kind of things to do. I mean, you can make this one goal where you're just looking for the class, or you can make it 2 goals. So, make it like a twofer. Okay, so we got that. Okay, and you're gonna research those, and then eventually you're gonna apply for jobs, but and it sounds like that's gonna be far out, Um, oh, see, I don't know why I can't see my mouse right now. Okay, there it is. Okay, so for this, let's see, what can you put this on a time frame for looking at these certifications? Um, okay. You could probably you can look at it now. Um, so you could put the 31st. You could probably give yourself to the 30th. So we could say, April 30 for this, because that's something that's kind of quick. It's not something that's going to take a whole lot of your time. You can, as you get those done, you can, kind of do that. I'm just going to leave that for this whole thing, that date for all of these. Let me copy. There. So there we go. Okay, so you have a time frame to do that. And then you can go to the CompTIA website and look at all of that stuff. See how much time we left. Okay, we've got probably about 6 minutes. But for your job, you can say you're gonna start to build your resume. Or no, that's probably too early for that. I would say, given where you are right now, well, you can start to look at it a little bit. So start to review job descriptions. And figure out what skills need to be on a resume. Okay. Oops. Okay. And you'll probably maybe give yourself till like the end of the year to do that. That's not something That's completely urgent because you're still trying to build some skills. So this is, guys, this is how you do it. This is how you sit and you kind of think through, you know, what you want your plan to be. And, you know, how you want to develop it. And so what we have for Ed is we have a completed plan for his path to become a cybersecurity analyst in the healthcare field. And so he's saying here he has some beginning certifications. He can add that onto his resume. In terms of, you know, some of the classes as he finishes that. So he can start to add that and start to work on the jobs part. And add that to his resume. He says that he has the Security Plus, the Network Plus study book, so he can read that as part of his, you know, some of the things that he wants to do. And he may want to start that before he starts the Linux and the Python. So Ed, you may want to do it that way. Okay, so then let's see what else we have. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, yeah, Ed, I'll get this to you. Yeah, we'll get it to you. Okay, Voma says to share the form. Yeah, you'll have access to the form. Gonna send that to James. So you can have a copy of it. You can get it with the program information along with the PDF copy of the slide deck. So you'll have it. If you want it right away, it's actually on the ISSA DC chapter website. So www.issa-dc.org. Let me see if I can type this in. www.issa-dc.org is where you can find the career action plan template if you want it right, like if you want it right now. And like I said, James and the organizers for the big conference, you know, they'll have it and they'll put it in the materials that they send out. So so you have that. So okay, so Ed says thank you. He has his completed plan now. But this is the process you go through in thinking about, you know, how you want to develop your plan. And we could have, if we had more time, there's even probably more that we could have done in terms of, you know, starting to look at the certifications and what the requirements were and starting to look at the training in Linux. But that's work that Ed is going to do on his own without us. So he can start to further, you know, his plan. So let's see, we have one quick question that, let's see. Trying to see, is Damon still here? Trying to see if Damon's still here. Okay, Damon, you're still here? Okay. So you had two questions I want to get to. We're a little bit over. About a minute over, but I wanted to make sure I answer your question. So he said you would like to suggest the next step for what a suggestion for what your next step should be. You have ITIL 4 and Security Plus certifications. You studied networking, been doing labs and working with Wireshark and all that. Goal is to become SOC analyst. So definitely what you need to do is pull some SOC analyst positions. Look to make sure that the things that you've done position you well. And if you feel like you have enough training, that you have enough knowledge, you know, start to network and get to know people who hire SOC analysts, people who work as SOC analysts, the companies that, you know, hire SOC analysts, and start applying for positions. So that's the big thing I would say. You know, it's time to get to work. Time to get to work, Damon. Let's see. Okay, and then you said you're studying AWS cloud practitioner. Yeah, well, that's good. You know, I would say definitely keep on with that and learn that the cloud is here to stay. So there's lots of avenues that you can do with that. Okay, my contact information, you know, I'm definitely on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. You need to say that you attended this conference, the Big Winter Conference. I'm only going to accept invitations for people who do that. I don't, you know, unlike cybersecurity, I'm wary. Other cybersecurity professionals, I'm wary of strangers. And so, you know, I won't accept unless I know, you know, how I met you and where. So one quick, couple quick more things we have. So Damon said, thank you for the advice. So you're welcome, Damon. Voma says contact information. So I'm gonna put it up on the screen again real quickly and type it in the chat. And then that's the last statement that we have. Question or comment that we'll accept. Because that concludes this session. But here is my contact information. You can reach me on LinkedIn. You know, you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can email me at Teresa Allison at ISSADC.org. I am the VP of Programs and Events for the national chapter. So, you know, feel free to come and participate in our monthly events. We have them every third Tuesday. And I think that if you attend, you'll learn a lot about cybersecurity, and you'll definitely get to hear things from people who work in the industry. You know, and you'll really, you know, have an opportunity to learn so much that's valuable, that will be valuable to your career in the future and could be valuable to your career now. So let's see, Lucy says, thank you. So thank you, Lucy. And that's all we have. So thank you everyone for attending this session. It was a long one from 9 o'clock to 2 with a half an hour break, but you know, I appreciate you coming and participating and learning and seeing, you know, how you can position yourself for your next cybersecurity career opportunity. So have a great weekend, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the conference.